Skye Squad, we are back in the building. Yes, it's your boy DJ Richie Skye back with another video. Listen, today we're going to be talking about Basketball Wives. We got a lot of news to cover with regards to Basketball Wives. We got Jennifer and Evelyn coming for OG's house. Is it real or is it fake? We got OG coming back, leaking text messages from Jennifer, talking about Jennifer's contract. Then we got Evelyn with an exclusive interview with B. Scott, basically talking about the whole color issue. Then we got to talk about the episode. Before we get into that, make sure you guys click the link down in the description down below to try to, get yourself a water bottle from the coldest water. You guys can enter to win one of your own, or you can go ahead and purchase yourself one and get 10% off using the code DJ Richie Skye, okay? Tell them your boy sent you. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and get down with the get down for this video, okay? So last night after the episode went off, I was, to myself, I was like, okay, I need to go watch some Law and Order, okay? Because that's what I do every night, all right? And so, apparently while I was watching the Law and Order, all HE double hockey sticks was breaking loose because I woke up this morning to texts and tweets and DMs and everything, and I'm looking online, I'm like, what is going on? So let me give you guys the rundown with all of the madness, okay? So Evelyn tweets out last night, she says, it's the fake house, fake storyline for me. Make it make sense, okay? So someone was asking, the house not her house, Ev? And so basically this was a reference to OG, right? OG talking about her house on the show, right? And then they showed obviously the house when she was filming with her family and whatnot, okay? So here's the thing. It is crazy, all right? So Evelyn says, if lying was a job, I know some people that would be billionaires, right? So then she has to clarify because last night we got a package with Jen coming back to the show, right? They gave Jen a nice little pack, a welcome back package, visuals and all this good stuff like that, which was nice, okay? And then Evelyn has to say, my previous house tweet has nothing to do with Jennifer. Let me clarify that, okay? So then Jennifer Williams chimes in and says, that part, we don't rent, we buy, as Jay-Z said, okay? So then the person, somebody tweeted back to Jen and said, wait, who got the rented house? Jennifer says, started with an O and ends with a G. So we all shocked, like, what? OG and Jennifer got beef? How, Sway? How? How did this come about, okay? So then Jen says, whoo, it's the lies in the rented house for me, okay? So it goes even further than that, okay? Jennifer says, for clarity, I don't have a problem with people renting a house. It's when you have production rent you a house and you fronting like it's yours, okay? So, so we have that, right? So OG, not to be outdone, she got some things to say as well. So she posts on her IG, she says, Biko, you better mind your mouth and sit this one out. And she posts a photo with Jennifer Williams saying fake jet, okay? And then she says, it's the fake jet life for me, okay? And this is apparently Jennifer Williams posted up like she's on a jet, okay? But there's also a photo behind her of a setup that is from Fred Segal, okay? If you shop at Fred Segal, if you've been to Fred Segal, you know what I'm talking about, okay? So when someone says to Jennifer to address the fake jet picture, she says it's nothing to address. If you shop at Fred Segal and not Santee Alley, you know what it is. She should address production for renting her a house for $30K for 2 days because she can't film in her real house where she resides. Oh, did she break ground for that house yet? Because OG was talking about breaking ground for a house, right? For her and Kwame, who she's still waiting to ask for her hand in the marriage, okay? man, if you don't go ahead and propose to this woman, propose, okay? Whew. What we waiting for? Let's go and get this thing popping, okay? That's what I'm talking about. I feel like, you know, we manifested marriages in 2021, okay? We manifested marriages. So that's for you too, OG. We manifested marriages for you too. Anyway, I digress, okay? So then, OG posts this. She says, while you were wiping the Tito's out of your eyes, I was buying land in my country. Boom! And she posts a photo of herself, apparently, you know, and it says 40 acres and a goat, okay? 40 acres and a goat, which is a take on 40 acres and a mule. Y'all know what I'm talking about, okay? So they are going at it like crazy, okay? So then OG posts this. Now this was the gotcha right here, all right? She says, after 10 years of being a professional brown noser, you're still stuck in a standard contract. Girl, bye. Let's see if they can go an episode without mentioning my name. Now, here's where it gets juicy, okay? She then actually posts this. She posted it on Twitter and she posted it in her IG stories. She says, see, I'm trying to chill, but this tried brown noser wants it. So let's talk facts. The girl is mad because what is in the budget for me is not in the budget for you, okay? She says, remember you were fired and came back groveling in season 7. Do you really want to talk about it? And it says beggars can't be choosers. So in this message is a tweet from your girl Jennifer, okay? This says, from Jennifer. So these MFers are trying to give me $5,000, no hair, makeup, coach, travel. What do you think I should say or do? I mean, come on. I at least need hair and makeup, and my coach ain't trying to travel coach to Miami. Like, WTF, they are playing games. Now, obviously, this is related to, you know, I guess when she came back on the trip and they all went to that trip to Miami and back into season 7, she obviously texted this to somebody, okay? Now, I don't know who she texted it to. I don't know if she texted it to OG or to Jackie, or she texted it to somebody in some kind of way. Your girl OG done got a hold to it and then released the documentation, okay? Released the receipts, okay? So Jennifer, apparently the homegirl is saying you is still stuck in the same contract from days and years going by, okay? For days and years going by. Let me tell you something, $5,000, I hope that it ain't what you made for the season to come back, because that ain't a lie, okay? That is not a lie. And they ain't even trying to give you no hair and makeup either. Girl. You better find yourself another lawyer, okay? Find yourself another lawyer, somebody to, you know, negotiate on your behalf, okay? That's what you gotta do sometimes. Now, I will say, sometimes you just gotta take the L, okay? Sometimes you do have to take the L. You gotta take a step back to take 2 steps forward. And maybe that's what she was trying to do. I don't know. But anyway, your girl, EVELYN, had done an interview with our friends over at the Love Be Scott, okay? All right, so the title of the article reads, EVELYN Lozada speaks on OG's continued accusations of race and color. I don't like her, and that has nothing to do with her shade of skin, is the quote that has been, you know, taken out of the meat and potatoes of the interview, okay? It's in the title. Now, apparently this was in response to what OG had to say during the interview with Storm Monroe, where she basically continued to speak about the conversation of race and color within the context of Basketball Wives, okay? You know, just to give you guys a little bit of a paraphrase, I want you guys to check out the article for yourself. So I will be placing this down in the description below so you can get all of the details. We do want to make sure that we support B. Scott as well. So I'll make sure you guys head on over to that after this. But basically, EVELYN is like, I don't like talking about this issue. She feels like she's having to defend herself against these accusations. She feels like, you know, it is OG who is the person who is making things about race and skin color, because she is saying that because EVELYN is not black, she can't wear braids, that she's a fake Afro-Latina, and that she wants the black culture and she wants to have black babies because she likes the black D, okay? She also says that color and race are real issues within the world and communities of color, okay? But she feels like basically that OG is using the color issue in her defense when it is not warranted in this discussion, okay? That's how EVELYN feels. And she also has several tweets out there that support this. And we also heard Kristen say as much during the episode as well. So, with that being said, let's stage dive into the episode. And I knew there was a lot of news, guys. I know there was a lot of news, but we had to get into all of it, okay? In order to really understand the context of the episode and things that are to come in the coming episodes, okay? So let's go ahead and get down with the get down. And we're not going to take too long, but we know how we rate the episode on this channel. I want to know what you guys would rate this episode. I will tell you the truth. I'm going to rate this episode a 9. And I'm going to rate it a 9 because I feel like, thank God they didn't give us too much filler, and they sort of went right into the preparation with getting into the 2 separate houses and getting the girls together, because we know that these shows tend to function better when the girls are all in concert together. Now, unfortunately, all the girls ain't gonna be all together, but they'll at least be in the immediate vicinity and we'll start to get some interaction. So this episode was more of a setup. And I'm going to tell you, one of the reasons why I liked this episode so much is because we did get a lot of focus on things that are happening in the real world. And to me, I felt like it's important to touch on those things. And I'm going to talk about the Malaysia scene that really made this episode the 9 when we get to it in just a little bit, okay? So we learned that everybody is scattered all over the country at this point, you know, in the episode. At the beginning, Jackie was the perfect person to sort of narrate where everybody was with regards to this. She's back in Sacramento, and the only person that she has heard from is OG. That bothers me because I'm thinking to myself, you know, even if I've been on sabbatical from coworkers in the past, like from all of my jobs, I feel like there are still several people that I still keep in contact with, even though we are not together. So it's odd to me that these ladies don't at least call, text, and check up on each other throughout the downtime, especially with so much going on during the pandemic. Now, I know everybody had a lot going on and everybody's in separate places, but still, it's kind of like, hey, why wouldn't y'all just say, hey, let me check on homegirl, or let's check on so-and-so to make sure everybody's good. You know what I mean? I don't know. The other thing that I was thinking was, at least we could tell that Jackie lives in this home. Now, y'all know how I feel about these people renting out empty homes for the sake of the show. I don't like it. I don't like it because, and let me tell you why I don't like it. Now, I know when I did reality TV, part of that was filming in my home. It had to be in my home. And I think even though my home wasn't perfect, it was part of my story at that point. And that was the reality of my life. And I just kind of feel like I would prefer to see the reality of these people's lives. And if they can't give me the reality that I'm looking for, which is, you know, exotic, I mean, ultra fabulous, you know, over the top luxury lifestyle, then I don't want to see it. And I don't even want to see them on the show. That's how I feel about it. And you guys don't be mad at me because I said it, okay? Shaunie is in Houston. Malaysia is in Atlanta, okay? She is joined by Kristen, who has moved there as well. Now, I want to say this. I know a lot of black people who are moving out of LA and they are moving to places like Houston and to Atlanta, back to DC, New York, or wherever they want to move to. Now, I cannot attest to really why this is happening, but I do see it as a phenomenon that I find to be interesting and to note. And I'm assuming it is because maybe it's a little bit cheaper to live in Atlanta. I don't know because I don't live there. But I will say that the cost of living for what you can get in LA is not that good to me. Okay, it's just not that good. So I don't blame her for moving, right? We hear about Cece getting married, and Malaysia said something interesting. She said, I do hope that her and Byron are doing well, which leads me to believe that she don't really talk to Cece like that, okay? So Kristen is disappointed that Malaysia didn't come to a George Floyd protest, but it reminds her of her brother Dante, who suffered a similar fate, okay? Malaysia is still struggling with this loss, and I want to say thank you to VH1 for sharing those stats on the screen. I felt like that was really, really touching that they did that, and I felt like it drove the point home that Malaysia was making, especially with regards to what happened to her brother, okay? I would love to see more of this. We learned that Evelyn did indeed buy her home in the gated community because she is scared that Evelyn is going to roll up on her, okay? We find out that she's a hoarder, and all I could think was Shaunie is beautiful, okay? I was like, what? This girl is a glamazon. She's a model, okay? So that's that. It was interesting to me, though, that we learned that Evelyn lost her stepfather to the pandemic. And she says, I just want everybody to be happy. At this point in time, it would stand to reason that if she does, I felt like a part of that is realizing that life is so short that this situation with OG is not beyond resolve. Okay, that's what I was thinking as I was watching the episode, but lo and behold, I didn't realize what was popping off on social media. Okay, anyway, we get to Kristen's house. She has invited an activist named Monteria, who is an activist for justice and police reform. This was a nice moment, and Malaysia realized that she needed to have a conversation with her kids. She says it's hard to raise black kids right now. Now, I could have swore we had this conversation with Malaysia, having this conversation with her kids before, but I will say, in light of everything that's gone on this past year, it bears repeating, okay? Now, Evelyn wants to get all the girls together in a mansion. Malaysia wants everyone to get tested. She expects Evelyn expects Phoebe and Malaysia to be over the drama with Jackie, but she doesn't expect for herself to be over the drama with OG, okay? Listen, riddle me ridiculous. I don't know. Evelyn then calls Jackie, and I noticed that Jackie had that Brassard cognac placed in the frame right at the beginning of that scene. Pop in the comments and let me know if you guys noticed that, okay? So as Evelyn is talking to Jackie and inviting her, all I can think about is Jackie's wig covering this eye in this very Aaliyah style fashion, okay? But she wants to invite all the ladies, and she wants it to be a sisterhood. So cue up Jen's package, okay? Jen is back in Atlanta. She's popping champagne. She's brought a house. She says that she hasn't left the house in forever due to the pandemic, okay? But lo and behold, producers say, no, girl, you're not going to tell us that story. And they roll the package with all of her photos from all of her travels and whatnot, okay? Listen, I'm not gonna shame her for it, because I feel like if that's what you do, that's what you do. But we later learned that because she was traveling so much in the pandemic that she had ended up catching and didn't even know, okay? She ended up catching the thing and didn't even know, all right? So Kristen stops by, Jen is lit, okay? And this conversation goes left oddly quickly, okay? We get into the discussion about Jen and the stolen Range Rover, which is still a little confusing to me. And then Jen says she's making a documentary about it. I haven't heard anything else about that. I would love to see what's going on with that. Kristen tells her about the girls' trick, and Jackie has already told Jen. Of course she has. So we find out that Jackie is getting her own house. Jackie has invited Jen and OG. Now, Kristen is shocked, and this is when the conversation goes left, okay? Kristen says that OG tried to take her face off. Jen says, well, you need to be prepared for anything because bees be throwing tables. Kristen was like, hold the bees, because she's talking about her family, okay? So then Jen says, this is my house, and I say what I want. And you better be prepared because there's no code around here with these ladies, so you never know what's about to happen. Now, I will tell you this, Jen is correct on that statement, okay? So OG's back in LA. Her family comes over to the alleged rental house, okay? And all I know is that I want some of that rice she's cooking. OG put up a recipe, make a cookbook, because I'm always hungry, okay? And I love me some Nigerian food. Anyway, Evelyn is hesitant because she doesn't want drama, okay? I'm thinking to myself, wrong show, girl, wrong show. Kristen feels like OG is using the color card for her own benefit. Now, I told you this was the same thing that Evelyn has said as well. Now, we get to Malaysia's discussion with her kids, and I should not have been distracted by this, but I just noticed that there was a lot of rouge on her face at that point when she was having the discussion. But I appreciated this scene because it's real story. This is not something that's made for television. This is something that actually happened in her life, and that is why I will always love Malaysia on this show. I hate that this happened to her, but I love that she is using it as a teachable moment for her kids, and that discussion was so real. She threw everything at them, and I felt my eyes tearing up a bit because you could feel her pain through the television. You know what I'm saying? So we get that scene. And then after the break, we're right back to the color issue, okay? We're back at OG's house. She's packing for the trip. She just wants to chill. She has an issue with the ladies denying that there is a color issue. She says, if you are treated differently by anyone in that group and you're dark skinned, it's a color issue. But she's hopeful that the ladies will step back and realize what they've done as a result of the world events, the things that have been going on in the world. That would have been nice. I think that even if you did not feel that there was a color issue, it is important enough to at least hear your friend or your acquaintance out, or any person who is a part of the group, hear them out, acknowledge their feelings, and talk about ways to make the situation better. It's very simple. You know, it's much better than acting like there's not an issue when a person clearly feels like there is. There's no harm in acknowledging someone's feelings at the benefit of making the group better. You know what I mean? Because then apologies can be made, resolution can be had, and evolution can occur. But we can't seem to get to that point because no one wants to acknowledge how this young lady feels, okay? Whether you like her or you dislike her, acknowledge she feels this way, right? That's how I feel. I mean, because I feel like that's like when you say a person comes to you and says something that you did hurt my feelings. Even if you didn't mean to do it, you at least acknowledge that their feelings were hurt and say, hey, that's not what I meant. That's not how I meant to leave you in that situation. Let's resolve it. And so I feel like that can still happen. I don't know. It's just me. We learned that it's a 2-week trip. Everyone seems to be going in with clear hearts and slightly worried minds. And Jackie is just ready for a pandemic ponderosa. You guys let me know what you think about this episode. How do you feel about the color issue, the race issues that we're talking about on the show? There's a lot to unpack in terms of the issues facing society buried deep down within the goings on this show. And I'm interested to see how you guys feel. Hopefully you'll watch the episode and the ratings can go up a little bit. You know what I mean? But that's all we got for you guys today. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell button, click the link down below to get your coldest water bottle. And with that, I'm gonna catch you in the next video.